If the month of December in a certain year begins on a Wednesday, on what day of the week will January 1st of the following year fall on?
Springbrook, Feister.
Captain Feister?
Saturday.
Saturday, that's correct. Here's a 15-point question on the names the same. What same last name is common to these three individuals? Don, who portrayed Maxwell Smart in the 1960s television comedy Get Smart. Cecil, author of the syndicated newspaper and online column, The Straight Dope. And Douglas, author of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Paintbranch, Sutton.
Adams.
Adams, that's correct. Great job, Sutton. Back to the monitors for a 15-point matching question on capitals of the world.
Springbrook, Feister.
Khartoum, Sudan. Brussels, Belgium. Yes. Mongolia. Yeah.
Brussels, Belgium. Khartoum, Sudan. Ulaanbaatar, Mongolia. Khartoum, Belarus.
No. Minsk, Belarus.
Oh.
Minsk, Belarus.
That is incorrect. Let's move over to Paintbranch.
Brussels, Belgium. Khartoum, Sudan. Minsk, Belarus. Ulaanbaatar, Mongolia.
That is correct. Moving on to question 10. Toss up. Here's a 50-point question on presidents. What state is the home state to 9 presidents, including both?
Springbrook, Feister.
Virginia.
That's incorrect. Including both Roosevelt's and Chester A. Arthur.
New York.
New York. Here's a 15-point question on sports. That was correct. What team won the World Series in 2004?
Springbrook, Hussein.
Red Sox. Boston Red Sox.
That's correct. Boston Red Sox. Can't forget that. We can't forget that. And we wrap up the third round with this 15-pointer on U.S. geography. What is the name of the main trail that originated in St. Louis and was used?
Paintbranch, Joseph.
The Oregon Trail.
The Oregon Trail. Yes, great job. That was the only game they had when I was a youngster growing up in school. And that ends the third round here on Quizmaster Challenge. Let's check our score. Currently, we have Springbrook High School, 245 points. Paintbranch High School leading the way, 320 points. It's now time for my favorite round, the bonus round. I'll read up to 10 toss-up questions worth 15 points apiece. The team with the correct answer will then have an opportunity to answer 20, 25, or 30 additional bonus points. Once again, no penalty for answering incorrectly. However, if you answer incorrect on the toss-up, the other team will have an opportunity to hear the question in its entirety. All right, players, hands on buzzers, let's begin. Our first 15-point toss-up is on the 50 states. I'll give you the opportunity at 30 bonus points on historical timelines. Here's the toss-up. What state derives its name from Spanish for?
Springbrook, Feister.
Nevada.
That's incorrect. What state derives its name from Spanish for flowering Easter because it was discovered on Palm Sunday?
Paintbranch, Joseph.
Florida.
Florida, that's correct. Here's your bonus for 10 points each and 30 points for all three. Answer this bonus on the year 1976. First, for 10 points, Sarah Jane Moore would be assassin of what American president was sentenced to life in prison? Captain Joseph?
Ford.
Ford, that's correct. Second, the first commercial flight of what now retired supersonic jet happened in January?
The Concorde.
The Concorde. And finally, Apple Computer was formed by Steve Jobs and what other man named Steve?
Wozniak.
That's correct. Now we're back to the toss-up. Both teams back in. We're playing now for a 20-point bonus on geological history. But first, a 15-point visual toss-up on architecture. On your monitors, you see the Broadway Tower in England, designed in 1790 by what English neoclassical?
Paintbranch, Anderson.
Captain Joseph?
Johnson.
That's incorrect. Let's move on. By what English neoclassical and neo-Gothic architect who also designed the Pantheon in London, many buildings at Oxford, and who was a rival of Robert Adam? Captain Brandon? Correct answer is James Wyatt. James Wyatt. Let's move on to question 3. Here's your next 15-point toss-up. Both teams back in on U.S. government to earn 25 bonus on border states. How many amendments does the United States Constitution have?
Springbrook, Hussein.
27.
27. Way to jump in there. For 25 points on border states, answer these 5 questions for 5 points apiece. First, for 5 points, which state is bordered by both Vermont and New York? Captain Brandon?
Hampshire.
Massachusetts. Second, by both Nebraska and North Dakota? Springbrook,
South Dakota.
South Dakota. By both North Dakota and Idaho.
Nebraska.
Is incorrect. Montana. By both Iowa and Arkansas.
Wisconsin.
Missouri. That's Missouri. And finally, by both Missouri and Colorado. Captain Brandon?
Utah.
That would be Kansas. That would be Kansas. Moving on to question 4. Both teams back in. We have a 30-point bonus on Japanese history. Here's the 15-point visual toss-up on geometry. Check your monitors. Which of these can be defined as any solid with two congruent?
Springbrook, Feister.
Prism.
Prism. That's correct. Here are 3 10-point questions on Japanese history. First, in 1964, which Japanese city hosted the Summer Olympics? Springbrook?
Kyoto.
That's incorrect. Tokyo. Next, what Japanese corporation launched the Walkman cassette player in 1979?
Sony.
That's correct. I had one of those. What country became Japan's largest trade partner in 2007, and it is not the United States?
China.
Captain Brandon?
China.
China, that's correct. Once again, 30 points, both teams back in. This up for grabs question is on children's games with a correct response to this 15-point toss-up on word origins. What month, originally the last month of the Roman calendar and the second month of the Gregorian calendar, was named?
Paintbranch, Anderson.
Paintbranch?
February.
That is correct. Moving on for 30 points, 10 points each. Answer these questions on children's games. First, what is the game children play that consists of cards with 1 or 2 colored squares or pictures of treats such as gumdrops or candy canes? Paintbranch?
Candyland.
That's correct. What board game has 100 squares to traverse, with some squares offering help to a higher number and some providing a downfall to a lower number?
Chutes and Ladders.
That's correct. Glad you guys know that. In what game do players visit several rooms in a mansion and try to figure out which character committed a murder using which weapon in which room?
Clue.
Clue. That's correct. Way to get those. Here's a 15-point toss-up on world history, which will lead to a 20-point visual bonus. Again, both teams back in on sports. What nuclear plant in the former Soviet Union?
Paintbranch, Joseph.
Chernobyl.
Chernobyl, that's correct. Let's go to the monitor one last time. A 20-point two-part question on sports. First, who is the U.S. softball player who, as a college pitcher, holds the record with 60 consecutive wins and as an Olympian led the USA to a gold medal in 2004 and a silver medal in 2008? One of my favorite players.
Johnson.
That's correct. Jenny Finch. For another 10 points, what college did French play for, which is located in the city of Tucson? City of Tucson.
Tuscan University.
University of Arizona. Jenny Finch, one of my favorites. Let's go to question 7. Here's a 15-point toss-up. Both teams back in on broadcasting, which will earn you a chance at 25 bonus points on historical timeline. What is the nonprofit radio organization created in 1970?
Springbrook, Golden.
NPR.
NPR, or the National Public Radio. Good job. For 25 points, 5 points for each answer. Answer these 5 questions as you identify a year ending in 4. First, for 5 points, in what year ending in 4 did United States troops invade Majuro, Marshall Islands?
1944.
That's correct. Second, in what year was Russian Tsar Alexander III succeeded by his son Nicholas II? Captain Brandon?
1884.
1894. Third, in what year did U.S. Army engineers begin working on the Panama Canal? Springbrook?
24.
1904. Fourth, in what year did Louis XVI become King of France following the death of his grandfather, Louis XV? Captain Brandon?
1734.
1774. Finally, in what year was the Apple Macintosh introduced?
1984.
84, that's correct. We have a 30-point bonus. Both teams back in on the internet if you answer this 15-pointer on publishing. What is the largest university press in the world and the oldest university press in
Springbrook, Golden.
Oxford, I think.
Oxford.
That's correct. Here's your bonus on the internet. We know that .com is the domain for commercial firms. What is the domain designated for these types of entities? First, what is the domain for a nonprofit organization?
.org.
That's correct. Next, what is the domain country code for Germany?
.de.
That's correct. Finally, what domain is reserved for websites that can be easily viewed on mobile devices?
.mob.
That's incorrect. .mobi. .mobi. Here's a 15-point bonus. Both teams back in. Canadian geography toss-up to earn a chance at a 20-point bonus on Chinese dynasties. What Canadian Prairie province is bordered by Montana and North Dakota? That sounds means the 2-minute warning. Let's continue. Is bordered by Montana and North Dakota and is named for the river.
Paintbranch Joseph.
Saskatchewan.
That's correct. You'll earn 10 points for each of these questions on Chinese dynasty, Paintbranch. What dynasty lasted from 1368 to 1644 and saw a construction of a 1,000,000 troops standing army as well as China's involvement in the Columbian Exchange?
Ming.
Ming dynasty. That's correct. What dynasty lasted from 206 BC to 220 AD and is considered a golden age in ancient China and has science and technology made a huge strides and the money economy flourished?
Han.
Han dynasty. Here's your final toss-up. Both teams back in of the game on the topic education as you play for a 30-point bonus on affairs. What 5-letter university located in Medford, Massachusetts, near Boston, is home of the oldest graduate?
Paintbranch Chetry.
Emory.
That's incorrect. Is home of the oldest graduate school of international relations and has a satellite campus in southern France.
Springbrook Feister.
Captain Brandon?
Tufts.
Tufts, that's correct.
Okay, yeah, don't listen to me.
The answer to each of these 10-point questions contain the word affair. Here's the first. What 1999 film remake stars Pierce Bronson as a rich and successful playboy who steals artwork for fun?
Covert Affairs.
Thomas Crown Affair. Next, what was the name of the 1797-1798 incident with France when 3 French agents demanded bribes from the United States in order to continue peace negotiations?
Defer to Hussein.
The XYZ affair.
That's correct. And finally, what is the name of the U.S. network summer show which stars Piper Perabo as Annie Walker, a CIA agent?
Covert affairs.
Covert Affairs. All right, and that means that's the end of our game here on Quizmaster Challenge. We will check our scores and announce our winning team in just a moment. We also like to thank our sponsors of Quizmaster Challenge, Gladiator Trophies, serving the Washington, D.C. area for nearly 40 years, rewarding life's victories since 1976. And also Red Raiders Softball, Montgomery County's largest fast-pitch softball organization with recreational, travel teams, and training programs for girls of all ages. All right, our judges have checked the scores, and our winner for today is Paintbranch High School. We'd like to congratulate the team of Anderson, Joseph, Chetry, and Sutton, who will return in a few weeks to compete in our winners of our next first-round playoff match between Churchill and Sherwood. Hope you'll join us then. Until next week, this is Quizmaster Joel Beidelman saying goodbye for Quizmaster Challenge.